Hello, my name is Margaret Ajibola, the STEM Positive Disruptor. And today on Mia's conversation, I have a special guest, Kelly McClellen. And she's an operating engineer and the co-founder of Tradeswomen Building Bridges. She's going to tell us more about that. But the reason why we set up this platform is we want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to change people's perception and demystify what STEM is. That's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We want to bring the public into our domain. We want to showcase the different roles that we have within the industry. We also want to start a conversation where the government is concerned, where industry is concerned, and where the education system is concerned. How can we make that positive difference? Because really, we want to be proactive in achieving the goals we say we want to achieve. And that's not just in the UK, but globally, because there seems to be a need. And there seems to be a need for us to address those issues in a practical way and also in a positive way, but also preempting what could be needed down the line. So without further ado, welcome, Kelly. Thank you very much for coming on board and speaking to us on Mia's conversation.
Thanks for having me. Thanks a lot. It's good. It's good to get together and have these conversations because that's the way that we're going to get to educate others of what is available for them anyway.
That's very true. So can you tell us more about what you do? You mentioned that you're an operating engineer. So what does that entail?
So I am a union operating engineer in I live in the state of Kansas in the United States, so right here in the middle of America, and I operate heavy machinery. So the job I'm on right now, I'm on an articulating forklift where I will lift heavy things and put them, hoist them into place in a building, or offload trucks, or just how basically I'm holding the heavy loads for the iron workers to build the building. Is what I'm doing on this job. And then I work on lots of different facets, from skid steers to front end loaders to dozers to off-road trucks. Just a lot of it in the dirt world where you're moving dirt with dirt equipment, and then on the building side where I'm at now, forklifts and also skid steers on this side, and cranes or other hoisting materials.
Indeed.
So we call it hoisting and portable, yeah.
Okay. That's quite interesting. So, because you've been doing it for over 26 years now. So has it always been that, or you've had varied roles within that profession?
Yeah, no, I have been an actual heavy equipment operator for 26 years. Yeah. Oh, and then you add the advocate to it. That's the other part of my world is advocacy, but that's all basically volunteer work.
Indeed. Well, I'm really impressed, and I celebrate you because it's quite interesting to hear when you speak to females, and this is what I do. Because most times when you associate heavy lifting or being an operating engineer, you think of a guy. So based on what you do, are there many women doing that within Kansas or across America?
I would say that probably in the industry itself, we hold probably 3 or 4% of us. So in I belong to a union. So in our union has 5,000 members, and there's roughly 150 of us that are women. I would say that I know maybe 20 of them that are active women that I actually have worked with before, or out in the open, or come to union meetings, or so no, there's not. This job right here, there's probably 100 or couple 150 people in this job, and I think there's 3 women that are electricians and myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there seems to be
it's typical to be alone.
Yeah. Do you know what? This seems to be a big thing where engineering and technology is concerned, where you have most times females are the minority. You have 1 out of maybe 100 people. There's only 1 female there. Normally, you're right. We are the minority. So that leads me quite nicely to what, as a co-founder of the Tradeswomen Building Bridges, why was this set up with your partner or the other person?
Right. So Tradeswomen Building Bridges was an offshoot of Fulbright scholarship that Susan Moyer got to do a comparison study between tradeswomen in the U.S. and tradeswomen in India. Okay. So her Fulbright scholarship did a comparison study between the two, where the women in India, there was, 40% of the industry were women, but they were not allowed the skilled trades. Where, in the United States or North America, we're 4% of the industry, but we are given the same skills as the men that we work with on the job sites. Mm-hmm. And then, so that comparison study led us to doing a learning exchange between the two countries. And then our network just kind of grew and grew. And we decided we tried to figure out what are we going to do with this information that we have now. So we, myself and I think there's 7 or 8 of us that have been around since the delegation we took to India, and we decided we would make Tradeswomen Building Bridges. And so we are almost a nonprofit organization. We're going through the process for that now, and we just want to continue the conversation globally. We, if you read our description on our webpage, it basically says that we are a North American network of women trying to raise the voice or change the look, like you say, of the construction industry, and just make other women know that there's women just like them that are working in the industry out there. Hey, reach out to us. If you have a question, a comment, just want to have a chat, we're here to mentor. We're here to learn from you. We went to London and we did a really great 11 days of events of construction site visits to, we had one day where we learned about the climate change issues from some researchers that we worked with at the University of Westminster. We partnered with the University of Westminster on that delegation, and it was an amazing trip to just see every facet of the industry and just be a part of it between the and not even just our country. We brought in, there was women there from Sweden, Norway, Switzerland. So we had several of our global partners together, and when you get all of us together, it helps raise that voice as one. It was a great experience.
I can imagine. You made a good point about it. It's that collective. It's about working together and showcasing what is happening, not just in, as you say, in America, but you made that comparison between India. But also when you came to London or to the UK, you didn't just come as the Americans, but you actually brought other people from Europe as well. You all partake in this journey. And it's also about, you talk about the collaboration, because you learn from each other, and it's what we want to do. We want to share, we want to raise awareness of the different people that work within the industry. We want to showcase that, look, if Kelly can be an operating engineer, I can do it too, because that's what we want to do. We want to inspire, we want to change the perception of what they believe a woman can or cannot do. Or not so much that, but look, the opportunity is there. And if Kelly has been doing this for over 26 years, hey, it might not be that bad. And sometimes you're the lone voice, but because you had a passion for it, you stood the ground, and you're paving the way for others to, if they want to be an operating engineer, they can do that too. So
yes,
I know you said you're part of the union as well. Based on your experience, because again, it seems that what we experience in the UK is experienced across the globe, where most times, even in skills jobs, that you're always females are mostly a minority within that segment of things. So, based on your experience, and because you're part of the union, was there a particular reason why you joined the union? Is that they changed the way things done, or I don't know?
Yeah, so since we did the delegation in London, I know the unions work a little bit differently than they do there. So in the United States, the unions come together with a collective bargaining agreement. So we collectively bargain together. And within that, in the union sector in the United States, you have benefits to being a part of that union. My pay, if I was a non-union worker, my pay would be about half. So, or, you know, give or take. And being a part of the union, I am provided with health insurance, just for being a part of the union. And I'm also adding to a pension every day. So, so the benefits of being in a union in the United States is a little bit different than the unions work in London, whereas the union will also stand up for me if I have issues on the job site. So just that is a similar thing to what you have over there in London. But they should also fight for the rights of the workers, which would be better pay or benefits, or, you know, what workers in general need. And being a part of the union should be part of that collective bargaining. And I mean, I think globally that everyone should be a part of a union, because it would be easier for the worker themselves to be able to, you know, what's the word? Not fight for themselves, but I'm missing the word.
Have someone as a spokesperson.
Bargain, or what? Yeah, bargain might be the right word, but be able to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
In the job site, because you would all the workers would want the same for everybody.
Indeed.
And in the United States, when you belong to a union, you're part of that union family.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, yeah, you're quite right, and that works well for, I guess, people in America. It's slightly different take to us here in the UK. But you know, I want to go back to this female thing. And what would you say, based on your experience? Because again, you said about in your field and what you do, that you're the only, I guess, only female that does heavy lifting, operating engineers. And you have 3 electricians. Is that what you're saying?
On the job site. So the job site that I'm at right now is at a building job site. So there would be every trade here, from carpenters to pipe fitters to plumbers, electricians, operating engineers. There's some cement masons on this job. So every single trade is represented here.
Right.
And the only trades, I mean, out of those, I don't know, 100 workers or whatever, the only trades that have women are the electricians and the operating engineers, and there's 4 of us total. Wow. There might only be 3 now. I think somebody said that one of the electricians went to a different job. So yeah, no, and that's typical.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Well, thank you for the enlightening us on that. So, again, how do we then, because this is something that has been going for so long. You've been in the industry for over 26 years, and not much has changed in the sense of the diversity of people that come into your field or trade. So what? Because you sent me some information about how can we get more females in, and how can we keep them or retain them in there. And you talked about collaboration. You said increasing the women in the construction trade. And you talked about it had collaboration, integrate supply and demand, center tradeswomen, and lead from where you are. Why? And so everyone it's everyone's role to make that difference.
Yes.
Based on this, do you think it works? Is that is that your boss?
Yes, I just knew he would show up immediately.
He can wave at us.
Yeah. Okay. No, he's a nice boss, but he was just coming to tell me that they still aren't here yet. So we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
So we're good. All right then. Well, just let me know when you need to go. Okay, no problem.
No.
Okay.
No.
Is he still there?
Nope, he left.
He's left. Okay.
So I rolled my window back up, and so he took off. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So can you please expand on this, the importance for us to be able to increase the diversity within the construction trade, i.e. increasing more women in there? You talk about there's 4 key elements. Collaboration is very important. Integrate supply and demand. Center tradeswomen and lead from where you are. Why do you think, I guess this, does it work well in America? Is it something that's just been put together very recently? Or is it something that you feel is very important? How do we make that more effective? Because we may run with it initially, but sometimes it filters away. So how do we, what's your take on it?
Right. So when we came to London last year, we brought over 4 case studies of locations in North America of where the women in those industries, the boots on the ground tradeswomen with skills like me, have actually raised to 10% or more. And those four locations, Seattle, Boston, and Portland, Oregon areas, they all got together, those case studies got together and came up with those game changers. Those are the game changers that have been working in those areas for where they've actually learned how to, raise those numbers. And for years they've been, they've always been talking about it, what can we do? What are the differences? And when they got all those key elements together, that's when everything started to work. So a lot of times we talk about tradeswomen. Tradeswomen are the way you get tradeswomen. So centering the tradeswomen in your business is going to be a way that you're going, like me on your podcast is showing that other women that you can actually come out and operate heavy equipment. And so once you center the tradeswomen and you actually show that they're it's a thing that it can be done, then other people will know it. And then the collaboration, I mean, you really need to get everyone in the industry, from your community partners to collaborate with your contractors, to collaborate with the tradeswomen, that's how it works, is when everyone clicks and gets together and understands, oh, well, it has been working. There are people that have been doing it, so we should be doing it too. There's no reason for us not to tap into that. It's a commodity. I mean, it's a thing that is valuable. It's a worker that you could actually tap into that would actually do an amazing job for your company. Because I mean, I'm proof. I wouldn't be still doing it for after 26 years if I wasn't decent at my job.
Indeed,
because then you just wouldn't work anymore if you weren't decent at it. So you can do the job and sustain a career, and you can make a great living out of it, and it's fun. I absolutely, the favorite part of my job is actually doing the physical work of operating the equipment. There are some downfalls, and mostly that's dealing with other people. But,
people dynamics is the key thing. That's so true. In any job you go in, it's really, it's not so much the skills you have or the job you do, it's the people that you have to contend. When I say contend, work with, because not everyone's going to be on the same level or have the same thing with you. So that's a key thing. So thank you so much for that, because it's, unless you try, you never know what output you can get out of it. And I think that sometimes we need to always remind ourselves that, look, everybody has and can add value to whatever you're doing. Well, I say everybody, people who have a passion for it and they have the skill set. If you don't give them the opportunity, you never know what you can gain out of that. And also, it shows the diversity as well, because we talk about diversity, we talk about inclusion, we talk about accessibility, but when it transfers into tangible output, that's not always a reality. So we need to find ways to showcase that, hold on, if we're saying all these things that we believe is true, we need to be able to show, we need evidence of that too. So, again, this is why we do what we do. We want to share this information, we want to raise awareness about this thing. This is something, if we can do that, we can be that change agent that we all say everybody else should be, because everybody's role, everybody has to have an input too as well, to be that difference as well. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
You
and I'm going to give a quote, but it's not my quote, it's somebody else. I don't remember who brought this quote up, but it says, the quote is, if you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
So, and that's why you center that tradeswoman, is if you can see it, you can be it. So
Do you know,
I'm sure you can use that. Share.
yeah, it's 100%. You know, it's so true. And that saying so true, because it's like when you can see it, you can then start believing in something that, hold on a minute, this is real. I can do it. That's what we have you as a prime example, that if you can do it and someone sees you that looks like you, that feels, oh, no, I never thought I could do this, but Kelly's been doing this and she enjoys what she does. I can do it too. And it's that vision, it's that seeing that someone who looks like you or you feel affinity with, that makes that difference. And you're right, that whoever quoted that or say that saying is so true as well. So thank you very much for that. In you know, in general concession of things. So I know, apart from the people element, what other things do you think that needs to be just in general? Because again, for us to be more inclusive or diverse and to showcase that, what are the things you would like to see change just from your perspective? Because again, we know what everybody's doing, we know what collaboration, what's happening in the industry. But what personally you, because we want to change things, what we do know where the problems are, but what can we do based on your experience and based on what you see as that change, that game changer that will completely change your industry, but also in a wider context?
Well, and that if we're going to do that as a big question, we can change the attitude of the industry. Now, don't get me wrong. I actually like most of the people I work with. Most of them are very easy to get along with, and most of them are champions for, you know, the women that work in the careers. It's that very few that aren't. And changing that, there's a rough, best word to say, jerk in the industry. There, I mean, there's worse words you can use, but if you could change the attitude of people. I mean, you're coming to work as a construction worker. It's already dangerous work, but for the most part, you know, I mean, it's all written on a piece of paper. There's a blueprint to how you put this together. There's no reason to go to work with an attitude or a gruffness about you to make everybody else on your crew feel like this. We don't want to work around these kind of people. So a lot of times it would be my thought process would be changing the culture of the industry to making it more inclusive. And a lot of that also has to do with some of the things that we have tried to learn from childcare overseas, because you guys have a little bit better way of handling childcare than we do over here, or maternity leave. Over here, you can't find childcare that starts at, you know, the construction hour in the morning and lasts until the construction hour in the evening. A lot of us are working 10-hour days. Well, that's the 10-hour day that we work, but it takes you, you know, 30 minutes. We're on different job sites, so it takes you 30 minutes to an hour to get to work. And that's if you're lucky and you live in an area where I live, where the traffic isn't bad. If you lived in a New York or a California or somewhere else, it could take you a lot longer. And then you have to find someone that's going to be at, you know, the childcare in the early in the morning. So if we could figure out the childcare industry in general, that would be great. And a lot of the construction industry hasn't been very supportive might not be the right word, but hasn't been supportive of the maternity or the needs of a family. If you want women, if you want to build your workers, the number of workers you have in your industry, and you want to tap into the females, you're going to have to make it easier, because someone has to take care of the others that can't take care of themselves. I am definitely, all my children are raised as adults. I have grandchildren, but my father is 86 years old. There's going to become a time when either myself or one of my siblings is going to have to step away from their career and take care of our older patriarch, because you know, you just do. They just need it at some point. So maternity or family leave is one thing that I would like to see the industry be more accepting of. Because a lot of times, like, well, if you're not able to be at work, then, you know, you shouldn't be in this industry. Well, you don't want anybody to be here because we all have families.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there might be the 1 or 2 or 10, people that don't have a family and are just here to get it done and make the money and work all day, every day. But most of us, are just wanting to get hired, do our job safe and go home and be with our families.
Of course.
And take care of them to the best of our ability. So
of course, yeah. And you're right. I think the industry has a role to play. Do you think that the government needs to put a policy in place to enable this to happen? To in a way, well, not so much force the hands of the industry, but at least get them to start thinking out of the box. Because I think the thing is, because the construction industry has always been driven by men. No disrespect to them, but it's always been that. It just means that sometimes they and then maybe their partner or their wife is that one that stays at home, or they have someone who can look after the child. So they don't think about females like yourself that come into industry and are working within that environment. That, hold on a minute, you are a mother too, or a grandmother, or a caregiver, and not just for females but also for males, because there's paternity leave as well. But it's getting that balance right. So do you think that the government has a role to play to help ease the path or make it easier for companies or industries to start thinking out of the box?
I think that probably that they could, yes. I think that
How?
right. I mean, if there were some sort of, because we'd already have in the states, we already have a Family Leave Act. But when you leave the construction industry, there's no pay for your days off work. Where our industry is there's no the family, yes, because of the Family Leave Act, we are able to leave our jobs. But yeah, if they could take that to a step further, where like when you get laid off from a job, you're able to draw unemployment. If there was some sort of family medical leave, compensation there, but there's the compensation's not there. I mean, that might be part of something that could really work if it were brought to it. But yeah, I think probably maybe the policies that are there could be better for the workers. I mean, it always works out for you. I figured it always works out for someone who's already making the money and already in the corporate position. But for the workers down on the ground, typically there's not a lot of that kind of compensation. If we're off the job, we just aren't making any money.
That's a hard life to live. Yeah, that's so crazy. And it's very short-sighted if they can't see beyond. I know there's a high turnover, but again, you have to be smart, especially when they're very good workers like yourself that's been doing this job for over 26 years, and you're adding value. There must be a way to compensate if, for whatever reason, you have to take a career break, and it's not just females, but also males as well, because they all have their different roles that everyone plays, and now it's no longer a very fixed role. This is what you do, this is what you do, but everyone now works together to ensure they have a better life for them and their families too. Do you know something? I know you're busy, and I can see you're also going on there.
I wasn't sure who was coming at me, but no, it wasn't. They weren't there for me. Yeah, I was just double checking to make sure it wasn't for me.
Oh, okay. But you know what? I know we can talk, but I thank you so much for your input, because again, this what we want to do. We want to get the public into our domain. It's not just about the UK side of things. So it's a global thing, because the issues you face, you face in the US is same as us. It's just different approach, different levels. But if we start a conversation, it means that, as you said, you're this Tradeswomen Building Bridges. It's about the connection. It's about the collaboration. It's about sharing knowledge, sharing lessons learned to enable others to benefit from it. And this is what we want to do. And this is why we set this platform up to raise awareness, change perception, demystify, and educate the public, but also educate ourselves as well, that we can make that difference. And this is what we want to do. So again, thank you so much, Kelly, for joining me on Mia's conversation. Really enjoyable. And we want the government to do something about this race view. Try and find a way to take the next level, so that everyone wins, because the industry wins, because then the skilled people like yourself can come back into industry knowing that they have the payment they need to be able to come back and all that sort of thing, and the benefits that you need. So again, I want to say thank you so much. I know it's very short, but it's sweet. Yeah. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. I really appreciate the conversation too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having this. It's great. It's great to have, you know, people, partners in the industry that can actually share the word. So it's awesome.
Thank you.